So what are we doing today? Level generation. Let's see here. Okay, so we had a vague idea from last stream. We had some MS Paint magic here. The idea that a level would consist of rooms, some corridors, some fight rooms, some shops maybe, or safe loot rooms, and a boss room of some kind. So we want to find a way to be able to randomly generate this kind of map. So I think the vague starting idea here is that we want to like have these main rooms that we generate in some kind of order. It's going to be a mostly linear map. Do we even want to move left, or is it always going to be to the right or down? That would probably make things a lot smoother, honestly. Yeah, maybe we'll just go with that. That movement is always to the right or down. That gives the game a nice little bit of consistency. Yeah, so that'll be our ideas. We'll randomly decide after each room. Yeah, no left movement. We don't want any of that mess. Germ! What time is it? You said 9 Eastern, right? Okay, okay. So about 4 hours. I am so excited. It's gonna be a blast. Alright. So what we want... we're gonna have some kind of main class for level generation. Let's have map as a class, as a folder. Let's have a map folder. So that we can get our classes together here. You've been given a great gift. Yeah, I hope it works out. It would be pretty amazing, but I won't be too disappointed if it doesn't go great. All right, we're gonna have a level class. Which in turn consists of... I'm just gonna call this map.js, and it's gonna have all my map classes and subclasses. So a level consists of a series of rooms. Yeah, I don't know what his schedule is. Watched a VOD where he was practicing. Oh gosh. I mean, he looked like he did pretty good in the quarterfinal. So we'll see how you fare up against him. Hey, Oliver. This has been it's a 2D platformer shooter with the main mechanic is shooting for momentum. That's it. We've been chat has been giving ideas. I started with a blank slate and just had chat give me a ton of ideas, and we've just been trying to incorporate as many as possible. What is the renderer.zoom? That's it. So the idea... Oh, target zoom, excuse me. So the idea is that I've got these... I've got everything kind of classed out so that we can have different types of weapons as basically just different particles. So I've got basically just 2 to kind of as a proof of concept, where I can use a fixed spread of particles or let's zoom in even more, or random spread. So I could have it's completely from scratch, no libraries. We're just doing calls directly to the 2D rendering context for drawing, and we're just managing all of the updates on a per frame basis. So all the physics are they're dead simple, like inertia, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. So currently we've got 2 different weapons to kind of show off the capabilities of this kind of engine. So this we have dubbed the jetpack. It is super rapid fire with a little bit of kickback per particle and no damage, versus the shotgun, which is good kickback plus damage, but only 3 particles. And I really like the linear interpolation on the camera zooming. We had code. We've got code for zooming in and out, but I don't think it's going to change as often as I originally thought. So we probably wasted a lot of time last stream building the camera stuff out. So here's the current plan on what a sample level will look like in beautiful MS Paint. We came up with this plan the end of last stream. Vague ideas: we're going to have a series of rooms and corridors with enemies along the way. Some of them will be safe rooms, and you get to a boss. I've made the comparison. It definitely looks a little suspect. That's fair. I'm really excited about the idea of... I've got a really cool idea for boss fights. I want to do them as procedurally generated enemies. I want to have like a dozen or so different parts that can be pieced together into like one big caterpillar boss fight thing. So like somehow you could have pieces of this massive monster that control like a shield, or this one controls its movement, or this one controls its weapons or whatever else. And as a result, they could kind of attach like Lego pieces or connects or something in these predefined ways, so that you could get these like weird, vaguely organic looking monsters snaking around. Warning forever. I did not. Does it do something like that? I'm gonna Google it. Let's see here. Oh yeah, that's kind of what I've got in mind. Something kind of like that, with like this big old series of connected pieces. Let's see. Did it do... The bosses change from stage to stage. Based on how a boss is destroyed, the next boss will adapt itself to defend against previously used strategies. That's clever. I don't know if it's going to be exactly like that so much as just like... I don't want the boss to adapt to the, like, in response to the player. Like, I want it to be like, hey, if you target the enemy shield, you're going to have an easier time dealing damage. If you target the enemy engines, you'll be able to, keep up with the boss more. I like the concept. All right, so let's see here. A level is going to be built from wait, why am I doing that's TypeScript. I've been doing TypeScript earlier today at work, and so now I'm stuck on that. TypeScript is like vastly superior for this sort of thing, but I want to keep it super simple, so we're gonna stick with vanilla JavaScript. No build process. It's just straight up, this is what the browser is gonna read, and it's gonna just run what we tell it. All right, so a series of rooms. How do we want to do the connection between rooms? All right, I think at least forget the constructor for a second. There's going to be a series of platforms, mostly in corridors. And that's going to be... Yeah, border. Border? Is that what we got? Yeah, platform. But I feel like the room does need to have its starting point predefined. Well, I guess the room doesn't need to know about its current X and Y position. So the idea here is that we're going to pre-generate these rooms individually, but not actually load them into the game's list of sprites until you actually are about to enter that room. So, as a result... Hey.
Hey.
Thanks for picking up groceries.
You're welcome.
So I could have a little block of logic that just says, hey, it's time to load this room, and then base that loading on, say, top left coordinate. That seems like the simplest way to do it. And so we'll have a generator. There is a little dog running around. Come here. People want to see you. Let's see if I can get this. There she is. There she is. She's super quiet. She does not bark, ever. Except when she's outside and then she does some howling. Move that back. We had her for months before we ever heard her bark.
Like 6 months, I think.
6 months? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Yeah. Her bark was surgically removed. She had a barkectomy. Good girl. She's gonna get your water if you're not careful. Need to schedule 3 of those barkectomies. Yeah, your dogs are, I mean, I always like hearing them in the background. Gracie, that's not polite. Germ Dove's dogs. Hey, Mario Maker fan, how you doing? We're doing the level generation today. We're gonna build level. We're gonna have a machine that will spit out random levels for us. And then after that, we're gonna go watch Germ Dove's Mario Maker tournament match. So be ready for that. All right, so let's see here. What are we gonna pass this? I feel like,
Need to go out?
this is gonna be weird because let's see here. I want to be able to do either a horizontal room or a vertical room, and I feel like we need to do these differently. Stop slide your momentum midair. Oh yeah, we still want to have some kind of reloading logic, don't we? I guess we want a width and a height. Yeah, we need reload logic, which isn't so much reload as like... It's almost more of a weapon cooldown system. Yeah, let's just build horizontal room generator for now, and then we'll, if we can reuse some of the logic for a vertical room generation, we'll do that. So a room needs to have a height and a width. And we have to know where the doors are. Do doors need to be lined up in a certain way? Let's just line them up with the center of each room for just to make things easier. Yeah, this is gonna be... Hey, thanks for the follow, Oliver. I probably should have done some pre-planning on this, because I'm really just kind of winging it at this point. Like, we've got the concept of a horizontal platform. We have the concept of a full map border. Like, nothing can go to the left of this coordinate, nothing can go to the right of this coordinate, nothing can go below this or above this. But when dealing with rooms, we want to have some kind of doorway that the player can pass through, right? So how do we manage that? That's where it gets a little bit more, I don't know. Honestly, it'd be really nice to basically have kind of a zone where once you enter it, you are basically warped into the next room, and a room becomes the entire map at any given point. Like, once you enter a room, nothing exists outside of that room. Like, we just throw out everything that was in the old room. And so in that point, a door becomes less of an opening in a wall and more of like a warp point. I'm kind of okay with that. That makes room loading a lot smoother. We don't have to keep track of like, okay, keep the previous room in memory and the next room in memory, but everything beyond that in both directions, we have to single out each entity out of that. All right, sounds good, Mario Maker fan. So maybe that's how we'll do that. And basically there will be every room will have an exit point of sorts. And we can work on the transition between them, but effectively it'll just be a big zone that once you are inside of that. Hey Hudson, how you doing tonight? You gonna watch Germ Dove's match tonight? I don't like this one. Oh, it's Splatoon. Skip that one. Just picked a playlist, so. Let's see here. This is a lot of me just staring and thinking instead of more typing. It's gonna be good, isn't it? No thank you. But thank you.
Bye.
Heading on.
Yeah, I gotta get going.
Alright. Drive safe. Love you. Aww. Off-camera hug. Yeah, they had like every match on the schedule grayed out, and then sometime mid-morning they took all those off. So I don't think there's going to be a restream. I'll restream it myself. I'll just pull you guys' streams up. Played Yoshi. Yeah. It was better. He's still got a long way to go, but I'm liking the direction. Meeting was moved tomorrow. All right, well, there you go. Yeah, YouTube doesn't have any big conflicts with uBlock origin, so I don't have to worry about ads as much. Twitch did some changes recently on their end, and so now I'm getting a lot of ads there. But YouTube has been very polite with ad
some
blockers.
bits.
Thanks, Mario Maker fan. Appreciate all those tasty bits. I saw your write-up, Hudson. I think you were right on the money. It's like some of it is aesthetic stuff, some of it is gameplay stuff, some of it is just like thematic stuff. But, eh. Alright, so we're going to create a horizontal corridor. That's what this is going to be. And it's going to return a list of sprites, I think, technically. Yeah, let's go with that. It's going to return a list of sprites. Although some of the sprites are going to be the borders. 10 out. Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Yeah. Twitch has really ramped it up. Granted, a lot of it is just the change from having no ads with ad blocker. Let's see here. What did we have? Platform and floor, ceiling, left wall, right wall. So let's start with just the walls here. So let's push a new left wall at 0. I've never even heard of Twitch Turbo. Is that supposed to be there? You're kind of like subscribed to every channel ad-wise. So we've got different classes for left wall and right wall. They both inherit off of the same base class. But the idea is that the logic as far as like preventing movement through that is the same. Twitch Plus Pro Max. That's the one we need. Oh, interesting. I think the ads appear because Mixer ended. I mean, that's not a crazy assumption, honestly. I'm hearing a lot of people jumping ship to YouTube and Facebook. Honestly, it's like every time I try to join a stream and I get hit with like, even just 30 seconds of ads feels really jarring to be like, all right, well, do I want? If I'm, it's basically like channel surfing. It's like, if you're just channel surfing, you're like, I want something to occupy my attention on the computer. Click. Nope, not Twitch. Twitch has a commercial on right now. Skip it. It's like, is that what's going to happen? Do. The ad finisher. Yeah, I'm waiting for uBlock to have an update and figure out how to deal with Twitch ads, so I don't have to worry about it. Wouldn't even think about Facebook for streaming. Yeah, it seems like it's such a weird concept. The only big streamer I know of that did any of that was Simple Flips. I'm sure there are others, but that seems like such a weird thing. Like Facebook. It feels like it's the wrong. It's like there is game streaming on Facebook. Okay, that's interesting, but doesn't feel like that's really the right audience. Zero does it? Gotcha. All right, so we got a horizontal corridor. We're gonna need some kind of exit sprite. which is, it's basically just going to be a zone that counts as the door, and we'll draw it somehow to represent, like, hey, here's where you need to get to. Mexican runner. Oh, is he gone off Twitch? I guess I haven't seen recommendations for him for a while. Oh, okay. All right, so now for the procedural generation part. Platforms. Where's my paint? All right, let's talk platforms here. So, we've got a room of whatever height, and we're just working our way through it. We want to have some platforms that can kind of act as some kind of gameplay element. Now, the ground is not going to be something we want to avoid because the ground will intrinsically hurt you. I think the idea is that the ground will kind of be maybe just a lot of enemies wind up there, so it kind of becomes dangerous. Since these are all one-way platforms, like you can move up through them, but you can't move down through them, that immediately means that being low to the ground technically gives you more options. When you're at the top, on top of a platform, you cannot choose to go down, so you have a much more limited space to work around with. So, as far as a mobility standpoint, you really want to be kind of low to the ground where possible. And in that case, why would you ever want to land on a platform? Like if there's an enemy standing up here on the platform, he can't shoot me through the platform because projectiles will be blocked unless we make some special exceptions for certain types of projectiles. And so in that case, I definitely want to go under him. Maybe we do want the ground to be kind of something to avoid. Just to make it more interesting gameplay-wise. Like, maybe there can be enemies on the ground that can get you to prevent you from basically just, like, surfing just below the platforms. So maybe that's what we want to go with, is the idea is that the ground will hurt you. Taking damage after some time on the ground, perhaps something like that. Yeah, like the ground is basically, it will hurt you if you're there too long. Try making a Facebook with my mom and she set my age to where the clear vids are not public because I'm not 18. So nobody can watch your clear videos for Mario Maker. That's pretty funny. Not gonna lie. Yeah, so let's disincentivize being on the ground through a handful of enemies and also some kind of occasional, maybe damage over time. I don't know if we're gonna do like integer damage, or it can be like, you know, fractional health where it like ticks off 0.01 of your health per frame or something. Maybe atmosphere problems. Electromagnetic interference from the moon is going to deplete your life support unless you stay above a certain altitude. Do I even want a floor? Yeah, we definitely need some kind of hard surface. Prevent you from going too low. Because we don't have a cap on your speed, which I think is fun for one thing. But vertically, if you came down with force, you could be like, oh crap, I just hit the threshold where I started to take damage. I need to ascend quickly, and it's like, nah, you've built up too much speed. You're dead meat. Yeah, absolutely. I do the coding stuff on Wednesdays, so happy to have the company in the chat. Very, very nice to... Thank you for the follow again, by the way. Need to make another account, but it was like a Seinfeld moment. Alright, so we're going to disincentivize being on the ground. probably through some kind of damage mechanic. So the sweet spot... If you're a good player, you're going to want to be on the lowest platform possible. Because you're not really... If you're good at platforming, you're not really worried about... Oh, this is where the idea of the reload mechanic comes into play very nicely. So the idea that someone came up with was the idea that you can only shoot a few times. Let's just make a little plus here for the player. You can only shoot a handful of times. Transparent selection. You can only shoot a handful of times before you run out of shots. So like, you can't just surf below everything because eventually you run out of shots and you're going to hit the ground. So maybe it's not even a damage over time. Maybe it's you hit the ground, you took damage. Simple as that. Maybe it's also over time. Like as soon as your iframes wear out, you take another stack of damage. So in that case, you're not sure based on the camera. Like if the camera only shows you so much, you're not sure where the next platform is that's low to the ground. So you've got to focus in on like, well, I can land over there. That could actually work pretty well. I like that a lot. I like that a whole lot. Yeah, so it's basically comes down to, well, I see a platform, I could try and get under this enemy, but there's no guarantee that there's going to be another platform. So, based on that, we want to have a good deal of space between our platforms horizontally and vertically. We don't want to have any platforms past a certain altitude within the corridor. You know, there's going to be some kind of hard cutoff and some kind of lower cutoff. Basically, I don't want to have enemies that can just like... Well, actually, that's not too bad. Okay, there will be a low cutoff, but it'll be a lot smaller than the high cutoff. Like, I don't want to have enemies like this, because they're not ever going to be able to damage anything, and the player can get kind of stuck up there. So we're going to have a high cutoff at maybe like 2/3 of the way up, maybe 3/4. Or maybe we just do a set amount, not based on a fraction, but just based on a certain number of, a certain distance amount. What if we just do 3 tiers of heights? That makes it kind of nice. Yeah, what if there's just like 3 lines? Basically, the entire room is broken up into 3 lines. Top line, mid line, low line. With gaps between each. Sometimes short gaps. Like, maybe about proportionally like that. Sometimes long gaps. But most of the platforms are roughly the same size, but not exactly. You know, something reasonable. No tiny platforms. You know, we could have something like that, maybe. Yeah, I think this works. I think this works. And that's much simpler to program as well. So let's see. How are we going to do that? Create platform line. So this is going to be over a certain width and at a certain y coordinate. Oh, maybe if the room is tall enough, we can have a 4th line. So we'll determine the number of lines and then run this create platform line function. Okay, all right, we're getting somewhere. It's like Super Smash Bros. Battlefield. Yes, yes, yes! Like Super Smash Bros. Battlefield. So let's see here. So a single line. All right, let's start with some. Let's hard code some variables to start with. Max platform width. What's this? Let's say double this side. Maybe, well, maybe not quite double, but what is our current distance? All right, our left wall and right wall are 500 pixels apart. Let's say 1,000. So you could have a couple enemies on the platform with you, and you'd still be okay. So let's say our max platform width is 1,000 game units. Min platform width. This one is, I think this looks about right. That's a very small platform because it's going to be a little bit difficult to aim yourself since you're basing it all on momentum. So like getting to line yourself up with a tiny platform is very tricky. So I like what we've got here in our little test room, which is, let's see, hang on, what is that? X1, X2. So that is a 200 width. So there's our minimum platform width. Min platform gap. Min gap. Let's just say min width. Width for the actual platform and gap for the space between the platform. Again, 200 looks pretty good. That's something you could clear with a single shotgun shot if you were already at the edge. Yeah, you can clear that with one shot if you're close to the edge. So I think the idea here is that maybe sometimes we'll have like a missing platform, and that encourages the player to have to seek alternate routes. Like they can't just stay on the same height the whole time. They're occasionally going to have to move up and down while they're trying to move across. But we're going to have that be kind of a weird case. I think regularly it should be a pretty standard gap size. 500 is the full width of this room. So how far can we go with like 1, 2... You can make that in 3 shots. So assuming that that's our normal, like our normal weapons capabilities can get you that far, then yeah, 500 is okay. We'll see what works. Oh, this is nice. This is a Checker Knights? No, the Legendary Halberd. Why was I thinking Checker Knights? I could have sworn this is... Ah, well. No, I remember how Checker Knights goes now. Okay. And then occasionally we'll have a gap. So let's say platform probability. We're going to let every platform, this is probably a dangerous idea, but we're going to let every platform be completely independent. Every platform will be allowed to either generate or not generate. Probably what we're going to do is just generate all the platforms and then with a certain possibility cull a handful of them just to create a little bit more interestingness. Let's say that 9 of 10 platforms will be there. That seems a little high. 8 of 10. Okay. Now, we're going to start from the leftmost point on our line. So I want to imagine this as like we're actually taking a pin, starting at the leftmost point of the map, and then following these rules to just like keep drawing platforms and lifting our pin putting it back down, drawing a platform, lifting, placing, drawing, until we get to the end. Maybe letting it overlap the walls, I'm not sure. Maybe not. That feels a little goofy. So based on that, what we're gonna have is we'll call it our cursor. No, let's just call it X. Since we got Y up here, yeah, this will be fine. All right, so we're gonna assume that when we started, we're at the left wall, so we're imagining that's where we just stopped a platform. So we're gonna start with make a gap. So we're gonna have a while loop. For now, just while true. We'll fix that in a second. So while we're drawing our platform, the steps are increment X by a random gap value. So let's see here. Gap range is max gap minus min gap. And let's do similarly for width range as max width minus min width. And just for clarity, let's switch these orders. So these values we can change very quickly to be able to get a slightly different generation. For now they're hard-coded, but we could make the ability to like make it different per level. Like some levels have very long platforms, some have several very short platforms or something. So we're gonna say generate a random number between min gap and max gap. That's kind of how you do that right there. So there's our first gap right there. So increment X by that value. Then we're going to generate our first platform width, which we're going to follow similar logic here of take the range, multiply it by a random number, and add the width. And then let platform equal a new platform from X to X plus platform width at Y value Y. There's our new platform. And now we can increment X by our platform width, just to kind of move our cursor along. And add our platform to our return list of platforms. Okay, so we're going to break out of this as soon as X gets too close to the edge of the screen, to the edge of our platform width line here. So once, let's see here. So if X is within gap range, what capture card do you use and how much is it for the Switch? So the capture card doesn't care what device you got plugged into it. I just plug an HDMI cable into the capture card, and that's that. The actual card that I have, let's see here. It's an AverMedia card. Let's see if I can pull up the card details here. AverMedia Live Gamer HD2. There's the name of it right here. This one was, let's see here. Oh, it's on sale right now. Dang it. Of course it is, since I bought it. Yeah. The price has dropped significantly since I bought it. That's lovely. But that one goes inside of a computer. Like, that one I actually have to, like, open up my computer, my desktop case, plug it into the motherboard, install drivers, all that business to get it set up. The one I had before that was an external card. Actually, I've got it on this table right here. So there's two major types of cards. You got the kind that goes inside your computer. That's nice because you can just, you know, there's no extra external cables. It's basically you just plug your Switch into your computer and then plug your monitor into your computer. And the data goes into your computer for capture and then spits out to your monitor for normal play. This guy right here is an external one, which similarly, HDMI goes in, HDMI comes out. And also it needs a little power from USB. Which is nice because you can use it on laptops or move it to a different computer easily. But less nice because a lot of extra components have to get stuffed down here with my computer and can start to overheat a little bit more easily. So let's see here. Let's say our width line right here is right here at, let's say that's 1,000, 1K. If my X value is greater or equal to, what is this length here? Let's say this is the max gap length. So if X, we want X to be less than our main width minus our max gap width. Oh, getting a phone call, just a moment. We're good. Waiting on some information from doctors and stuff. Fun times. All right. So as long as X is not too close to the edge of the screen, we're going to generate another platform. Now that does mean that we are probably going to very frequently see platforms that extend into the wall. Got a good deal on yours. I feel like I timed my... probably should have been watching for a while. Oh, so that one's an external one, it looks like. I probably should have been watching it for a while, but because mine was starting to overheat and, like, freak out... Thought it was broken? Uh-oh. Let's see here. We'll just deal with... I'm gonna have a to-do here. Skip adding platform if too close to wall. My concern is we might occasionally get like a tiny platform that's like barely on the side of the wall, and I don't want to deal with that. So we're just gonna put a to-do for now. Yeah, they are expensive. Mine was about 150, a little bit over. But it's not like I'm spending that money on going to the movies or anything right now, you know? Not going out to eat, not dining in at restaurants. I gotta find something to do with the extra fun money I would usually be using. All right, so there's how we create a platform line. I also want to offset this a bit. I didn't think about this. We want to offset X sometimes. So we're gonna let x be 0 normally, but... Oh, also, we didn't do this either. So I'm going to comment that out. We'll deal with that later. So let's see here. Our platform lines. Play some Doom. Sounds fun, Mario Maker fan. All right, so let's see here. So how far? This is where it gets a little bit tricky. We got to determine how many platforms we can fit. All right. So we want to have, I think this margin looks okay right here. Like this is the lowest, the smallest gap between floor and platform, and this is the smallest gap between ceiling and platform. I think that's perfect. Platform to platform, also probably this gap right here looks good. So what we'll do is we'll say, lowest platform Y is going to be at 300. No, that's the highest, technically. Is 300 pixels from the top. And then the bottom is 25... No, 440. Here we go. 140. So let's say 150 from the bottom. So that's height minus 150. There we go. So now we've got our maximum platform height, our minimum platform height, and then we're going to try and divide it up. Let's see. How are we going to do that? So we're going to say number of platform. No, not number of platforms. Number of lines. We want to calculate that based on this and our target of trying to get a 300 pixel gap between each platform. So let's see here. Total space, total vertical space is going to be our highest platform Y. Oh wait, no, lowest is a higher positive number. It's weird working in this JavaScript framework. Y values, as you go up, the numbers go down. This is 0, 0 is the top left coordinate, not the bottom left coordinate. So you can't use that Cartesian coordinate system that you're so used to. So we're going to take our total vertical space. We're going to divide it by 300 pixels. And then do a math.floor. So by default, one plus this. So if I've got 300 pixels of space exactly, then I want to have 2 platform lines. Top line, bottom line. GFE, how you doing? Man, I saw your race last night, and I was getting a little bit worried about mid-game when you were about... I think you were about a full dungeon behind. And then... You having the flippers, like, that won you the game right there. Like, that was it. He went Galaxy Brain. Yeah. Yeah, the absolute bait. No, that was absolutely... Like, I turned away for a minute and I was like, oh gosh, I can't watch. This is it's all going terribly wrong. And then I look back and I'm like, wait, no. GFE's got it now. Oh my gosh. number 1 seed out of our group into brackets. Oh no. That's not what you want, is it? Oh my gosh. Let space per line equals our total vertical space divided by our number of lines. Oh yeah, because then if you're number 1 seed, you're going to be facing the last place first. Oh, okay, number 2 from another group. Okay, then I have no idea how it works. I'm not used to all this tournament business. I've somehow completely missed all of that stuff. Number 1 and number 2 from every group moves into brackets. Oh, okay. Gotcha. So you are facing the worst qualifying player from a different group. Wait, who's from your group who's going to be in it? Is it P-Train and you? Oh, this is nice. No? Uh-oh. Plasma Kappa. I don't recognize that name at all. Oh, because this isn't like the normal group ladder. This isn't like your league team. Right, this is a whole separate thing. How did they do groups? How did they assign groups? Oh man, GFE. They're still going. They're still going. Actually, all I've had so far is the seeding match and the match against Owlglass. Or Owly now. Seeding went amazing. By one point, I managed to get first place seed. And so I got a bye in the brackets. And so I went straight to semifinals against Owl. And I feel like I did pretty good. I beat him by a good margin, thanks to some amazing luck on the endless round. Yeah, 4-way tie for second place, which was hilarious. But what's been amazing in the brackets, there's been some upsets. Coas Legion, who has dominated the weeklies in the past, somehow got knocked out in quarterfinals. And as a result, tonight, Germ Dove is going to face off against against Too Good in the semifinals, and I'm going to face the winner of that match in the finals. So we could, depending on Germ Dove's performance tonight, we might have a Dobbs versus Germ Dove final match. So Germ's race is going to be in 3 hours. So we're probably going to go over there as soon as that starts. I don't know if they're doing. I haven't heard anything about a restream. Not a lot, but a little bit. I think it was like $20 or so. Yeah, $20. So, I mean, that's about what we'd get in the weeklies. Actually, it's less money than was on the line in the weeklies. You did your part. Everybody loves Randomizer, man. Randomizer's where it's at right now. I'm still wanting somebody to mod Link to the Past into a randomized roguelike somehow. Like with random rooms, with random monsters, and random treasures that you get along the way. I'm still waiting to see something like that happen. If someone get 2 wins in brackets to make top 8, guaranteed cash. Hey, nice. I mean, your first match, you should be okay since you're going up against the number 2. So, not in the bag, but you've at least got an edge there. Nah. Oh. Who are you up against in the brackets? Do you know yet? Oh, gotcha. 0. Yeah. They're not determined yet? Okay. It's gonna be you versus Pika Pals or something. Andy. Bonta. We're gonna start with 0 for all of these. What? Wow. What happened there? Oh gosh. Even Bonta going 1 and 3. I mean, that's randomizer, right? That's, holy cow. Man. So how much prize money is in the randomizer bracket then? Oh wait, I could just look that up. Speed Gaming Live 2020. Oh, okay, I see. They're doing a $1,000 bonus main tournaments. I don't know if that means that every tournament there is getting $1,000 extra or what, but and then $32 contributed. So at least a good few $100 up for grabs. Let's see, line number times space per line. Okay. Then we got our platform line, and then we can sprites.push our platform line. So this is a fun little operator, the spread operator. Don't see that a lot. 40% of the pool, so 9. Oh, that's pretty nice. 5th through H each gets 160. That's really good right there. Man. I mean, at least they're putting the money towards the big crowd bringers this time. Like, I don't know what they expected to happen with the Mario Maker weeklies. Like, they were putting a lot of money on the line to try and drive some attention. They were doing like $100 in prizes every week, split between runners and level creators. I don't know what in the world they were expecting. That's crazy. Is this it? Did we do it? Is that our... I guess that's it. So we do map slash map. And then map slash room gen. First, let's make sure that loads. Okay. That probably is a lot of it. It seems like speed gaming has kind of become, to a certain degree, kind of the home of Link to the Past Randomizer. Yeah, probably. That doing some kind of partnering would have made a lot more sense. Okay, so we're gonna comment this out, and we're gonna try borders equals new room generator dot what did we call it? Create horizontal corridor with a width and a height. So we're gonna give it a width of 3,000 and a height of 800. Let's see if that actually works. Whoop, whoop. Where am I? Okay, what do we got? Okay, we have some very long... Oop, and that's the end. Well, there are some random platforms here. How did I even find the speed gaming stuff? Oh, it was because of GFE. Because GFE invited me to a randomizer Discord specifically because they had they were getting some Smash Brothers matches together, just some casual Smash Brothers stuff. And then Mario Maker came out, so that Discord added a Mario Maker channel, and I was like, cool, let's play some Mario Maker Versus. And then somebody dropped the information in that channel one time about, hey, we're doing a weekly race. First one is such and such date. And I was like, yeah, sure. All right, so this didn't look exactly like we wanted it to. Oh, we have Y0 for some of our stuff. Well, that's not where we want it. Oh yeah, because we need lowest platform. Y plus. No, wait, need. Yeah, wait, lowest. Dang it, highest. Yeah, okay. Oh, we got platforms. Not as many as I would have expected. Yeah, we're only getting 2 lines because of our height minus 150. Height. What height are we passing in? We're saying 175 per line. Well, that can't be right. How much total vertical space do we have? It says we only have 350 vertical space. Well, if I've got 800 height, and I'm saying that the highest platform is at 300, and the lowest platform is 150 below the bottom. So 800 minus 150 is at 650. Yeah, that leaves 350 for space. Oh, wait. Space per line should not be divided by number of lines. It should be divided by number of lines minus 1, I think. Okay, that looks more right. Yeah, there we go. That looks more right. Yeah, there it is. Okay. We have a corridor. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's like just possible to get up there. So how big does the room need to be before we get a third spot? We need this total vertical space to be 600. So I need 900. Wait, 1,050? Is that right? Or is that too much? Okay, that looks... We've got 3 platforms, so I'll give it that. Okay, that looks pretty good, actually. Yeah, okay. I'm down with that. Our width is way too shy to be an actual corridor where we're fighting a bunch of stuff, because I can just keep building up speed if I wanted to from the very beginning. Like, let's say I've got 6 shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom. That's it. That's a little reckless, perhaps, because you could run into an enemy. So maybe we add some vertical walls. We don't have that kind of sprite yet, but could do something like that. But I say for now we just increase the room size. Okay, so next up. Some of the platforms need to be missing. See, there's a nice big platform here. Some of these guys are just kind of floating around. So let's see here. So we're going to say if math.random is less than our platform probability, then add it to the list. So that's going to cull out a lot of these. Let's go jetpack. Let's take a look here. Oh yeah, look at this. Look at these big open areas that we occasionally get. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's reasonable. I'm digging it. I'm digging it. Let's zoom it out. Let's move over to the center of this area. And get our target zoom kind of zoomed out. Oh, look at this. Yeah, look at this nice randomly generated corridor of platforms. I feel like the big platforms are a little bit too big in places. But, nah, it's good. Yeah, look at that. Randomly generated content, you guys. Procedural levels. It's good stuff right there. Okay. That's still maybe about half the size we want this to be. Yeah. Let's go for 10,000 there. Nice even number. All right. So yeah, some missing platforms. And now we're going to have an occasional chance of an enemy spawning per platform, maybe? So, let's see here. Let enemy probability equals 0.4. 40% chance of an enemy spawning on each one. Now, this makes it a little bit... This is trickier because now we're not returning a list of platforms. We're returning some platforms and some borders. So we need to change these here for the border generation. Platforms becomes borders. And so we're instead going to return an object that contains both borders and sprites. So let's see, what kind of enemies do we have here? I forget exactly what we have. There we go, this guy. You know what, let's just, let's see. Ah, there we go. We've got Goombas. We got Whisper. So what we're gonna do is, with some probability, if math.random is less than our enemy probability, then we're gonna add an enemy to the top of this platform. For now, maybe we just go with a Goomba. Our typical Goomba. Alright, so we can return both of these. Enemy Goomba. Is that what we called the class, I think? and then we just give them a position of an X and a Y, and that's it. So let's see, our X is going to be the center point of the platform. Platform center X equals platform dot X. Hang on, what is a platform's properties here? X1, X2. So we want to average those out. X1 plus X2 divided by 2. So there's our X. Now our Y value is going to be platform.Y minus a little bit of margin for the height of the enemy. Which by default, enemies have normal sprite size, it looks like, which is a radius. Okay. So we'll just set, for now, we're just going to hard code it as the full size of the sprite. So they're going to hover, they're going to float a little bit off the ground when they first spawn in. Okay, but important thing. So we're returning both of these objects here. And so we're not going to do this. Our sprite list is going to start with just the player. Var room equals this mess right here. And our borders is going to be room dot borders and sprites dot push room dot sprites. All right, and then finally we're going to take out the logic of pushing a new enemy when an enemy dies. We're going to remove that entirely because we're going to have a lot of enemies suddenly. Sprites is not a function in main. Oh, whoops. There you go. Let's zoom out. Nothing, no sprites at all, because I didn't actually add them, did I? Let's see here. Nope, I did not. We still need our list of sprites. Okay, that ought to do it. Did that do it? That did it. We have some Goombas running around now. They're just falling off of things. But hey, look at these random collection of enemies. Right now they're all Goombas, of course, but that won't be the case forever. Zoom back in. Okay. You know what? That is pretty reasonable. Platforms are a little bit hard to see against the moon background. And momentum can really carry you quite a ways. So we're gonna need some different types of enemies that can kind of slow you down a bit, that you're gonna have to be a little bit skillful, that sometimes you're gonna have to take them out. Yeah, this will be all right. Now we should have just a string of Goombas running around on the floor over here. Yeah, look at this mess of Goombas. Why not Goombas? All right, we have a room that is generating with enemies. It is a randomly generated room, so that's a good start. Because that means we don't have to design a bajillion different rooms. I kind of want to do something to make these borders a little bit more visible against the the moon sky here. So where's my logic for drawing a border? Renderer.line. Here we go. Renderer. Yeah, that sets the line width by default. What's our drawing loop here? Where do we draw the borders? Here we go. I think what I want to do is do 2 passes on borders with different colors. Is that... All right, hang on. Rethinking how I'm going to do this. Let's move back to the border drawing code. Colors shouldn't really be set like this, honestly. The way we've got it, it's kind of a weird issue of who's in charge of what. So let's do... all right, pull up the renderer. Pull up main. Stroke style. Okay, so what let's do... Let's try this. Let's go like -1... +1, -1, +1. Is this going to be enough? Will this actually... Okay, you can kind of see that, yeah. Not really. How about now? Okay, that's getting a little bit there. Yeah, you kind of just barely see that little outline there. So I kind of want to do that on the main walls as well. Surprised that that does not... Oh well. So we'll just do the same logic here. Two to the left. And Y we're doing +2 for our offset. Okay, there we go. We get a little bit of a black line to kind of help it stand out against the background. It's small, but it does help. Yeah, that definitely makes it easier to see when it's up against the lighter background. Yeah, you can just, if you got a good weapon, you can just surf all the way to the ending. It just becomes a game of Flappy Bird, more or less. Like that really is it. All right, so now let's move back over to our map generation. For this whole skip adding if too close to wall. I kind of want to say if it overlaps the wall at all, that we're just not going to add it. Yeah, if platform... Let's see. Platform hits wall is platform.x2. If that is greater than or equal to our target width, then we're just not even going to add it. Alright, let's see if that works. Make sure we don't get any, Oh, look at all these Goombas falling down everywhere. Yeah, there we go. So they kind of stop a little bit more in advance. And we can put some kind of special setup for an exit. Alright, that works. You can get some serious speed built up if you got a long straightaway. Oh, that's kind of cool though. Like, I'm not totally opposed to that. That's kind of fun. But the speed is so... I guess the idea is that the game is not meant to be a platformer so much as a combat sort of thing. Like, that's supposed to be the main goal here, is fighting a variety of enemies with a variety of weapons. So to encourage that, we want to somehow stop you from just being able to skip every enemy. Also, I don't want guys to just pool on the bottom. Like, I want them to sort of stay on the platforms more than anything. So we'll probably change the logic on those guys. Just a little bit. Because that would... in their current state, these guys are pretty useless. Because they're just going to pool at the bottom of the screen on horizontal levels. And on vertical levels, they're going to do that, and they're going to be fish in a barrel that you could just kill all in one go with no real threat. Exactly, we need red Koopas. Well, we need Goombuds. Or Goombrats. Take your pick. So we're gonna need some kind of enemy that does not walk off the ledge. Now that's gonna be tricky to determine whether or not... Yeah. Yeah, non-Goomba, non-Galoomba style enemies. Actually, it won't be too bad because I can use touched border to find the platform I'm standing on. So we're gonna have a Goombud. This will not be nearly as hard as I was thinking it would be at first. And then we gotta add it to our enemy list. All right, so the idea here is that they're gonna have gravity, because I'm thinking in the future there will be some weapons that can actually push enemies away. And I don't want this thing to blindly like be on a track going back and forth and nothing ever disturbs it. I want there to be some kind of attack or weapon that can push the enemy away, and if it lands on another platform, well, then it does its normal logic of back and forth. It doesn't stick to its set path forever. So let's see here. Let ground equal. We're going to look at our list of borders that we are touching. Ooh, and then also, what if it hits the wall? Because that is also possible. So find the touched border that is a platform. All right, so here's the idea. We're saying if you touched any left wall, then set your direction to right. If you didn't touch any left wall, but you touched a right side wall, then set your direction to left. If you did not, this frame, touch a left wall or a right wall, but you are standing on ground, then execute this logic, which is if my X is less than or equal to the ground's left x coordinate. We might have to add some kind of margin of error here. Then this dot direction, start moving to the right. If it is greater than or equal to the rightmost part of the ground, then go to the left. And that's a Goombud. That's it. All right, let's test out a Goombud here. All right, he's moving. He might still fall off. Yeah, he fell off. Okay, so they need a little bit of margin. Let's give him a... If it's less than... Let's say... Let's give it 5 pixels. 5 coordinate things. All right, where is he? Is he going to do it? Oh, there he goes! And to the... Yes, it works both ways. All right, we have a working Goombud. Okay, but I want to make sure this guy will still work out if he's disturbed. Let me make sure I'm looking at the right one. Let's set green. Yes, okay. That, keep your eye on the green one there. We're gonna make him bounce a little bit. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, yep. Boom, jump off the edge. All right, we forced him off the edge. Now does he still stick to his new platform, his new home? He does, okay. So we have successfully developed a platform-hugging enemy that, if for whatever reason, there's nothing in the game right now that'll let you do this, but if you were able to knock him off his platform and he lands on a new platform, he will still follow the same rules of stay on the platform, navigate back and forth forever. That is perfect. We have the Goombud. I feel good about that. Okay. And he'll still give loot, of course. So, what's to stop me from just zooming through the area here? I mean, I guess bad platforming is one. We want to have something that's going to slow me down somehow, but I don't know what that looks like. Walls in the way, maybe, that I occasionally have to go over? Like, what if some platforms have a wall that goes up to the next area? I gotta be careful there, because I could create an issue where it's possible for a room to technically be unbeatable without surfing under the bottom. It would be unusual, very unlikely, but technically possible. But that seems like the easiest way to like prevent me from just like skipping over everything and forcing me to occasionally engage in with the enemy. Like it could be occasionally there's like a wall on the far side of a ledge. And then I have to update all the code for the Goombud and the Goomba. Probably worth it, but still. Yeah, because the trick on the platforms and the current walls is they're always one way. I could just have two very close to each other walls. Alright. Tricky. I mean, in a Mario level, you can't just skip every enemy and go full speed because your full speed is kind of low. I kind of like the no cap momentum, but maybe it's a bit excessive. Maybe I do need to put some kind of cap on. Let's see here. Console.log player dx. Set interval. Do that every 25 milliseconds. See, 10 seems about as fast as I want the player to be going horizontally. Like that's about, yeah, 1, 2, right there. Like I think the original idea was that the your ammunition would limit you at some point. I mean, maybe just the threat of enemies coming up ahead of you is what's going to lead you to want to slow down. It's like, yeah, you can go full throttle, but you know, there's no guarantee there's going to be a platform. There's no guarantee that there's going to be a safe spot. If there's certain enemies in the way, you're not going to be able to easily get around. Why aren't you going to be able to easily get around them? You're going so fast. Any sort of attack the enemy can do is not going to catch up to you. If it's going to be a fair game, the enemy has to have some kind of, like, I don't know, attacking animation. There's got to be a little bit of a delay before it actually fires. Maybe once I limit it to 3 shots, that'll be enough. Maybe that's the next stream's goal, is just limit how many shots can be fired before landing. Because then you are going to be forced to engage a lot more and be a little bit more careful with your jumps. You're going to want to land as often as possible so that your shots reload. And so I have to be very careful about balancing these weapons. All right, Hudson, take care, man. Thanks for hanging out. I think that's what it is. I think that's the idea, is that this problem will solve itself by just not having unlimited ammo. So let's see, how do we do that? Weapon. Weapon class. All right. Pulling the trigger. Needs to be a chambered shots. Ammo, effectively, is the property. Yeah, we're going to have some kind of... It's not going to be a true ammo count. It's more of how many shots before you land on the ground. And that's going to be very important for balance in this. So the idea is that if I fire 3 shots with this kind of default test weapon that we've got, that gets me enough height to 2 shots is enough to get up to the next level. 3 shots gets me a lot of vertical momentum, especially if I'm very good on my angle. Like, look at that, the amount of speed you can get there. And then once I'm out, then I need to sort of regroup, look at what's up ahead, and go from there. Yeah, I think this problem will solve itself. So we're going to have a max shots before landing. By default, it's going to be 3. Jetpack's going to have a ton, though. We're going to give it like a weirdly high default. I don't know how many is appropriate, but we're going to try 100. Shots since last landing is going to be our counter for it. So when you fire it, we're going to increment that. Something's gonna have to restore it. Hey, McFixit. How you doing, man? We've implemented the Goombud logic. We now have enemies that can stay on a platform. And also, we now have a nice, pretty randomly generated corridor here with platforms and enemies and gaps. Gotta get that procedural content, you know? That's what the people really want. I mean, that's what I want, because then I don't have to design a bunch of levels. I'll let the game do it for me. The current problem we've come across is that if you keep building up momentum, you can basically get to the other side of this without ever engaging in enemies. And I think unless I just made some very unfair enemies, you would never have any threats if you just find a good altitude and just very cautiously stay at that altitude. You could just skip through entire corridors without facing enemies, which is cool, but not in the spirit of what we're trying to build here. So I think it's going to solve itself by us just limiting how many shots you can fire between landings. So we're going to implement that. Hello? Is someone coming upstairs? Oh boy. Oh boy. It's been a productive procedural content night. Hello. Hello. You gonna hang out with me? Maybe.
Oh, spin in a circle.
Oh, what a big spin.
Wow.
Little Toadette has learned to spin around in a circle. It's pretty adorable.
All right, Laurel. Well,
There she goes.
let's stay up here with Daddy.
Gonna run down the stairs. Hey, come here. You wanna get... Oh.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go fix your dinner.
I can get you some dinner. And we can hang out over here. Oh. Oh, you want to play with that microphone? I know you do. I know how much you love it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, there you go. Yeah. Knock yourself out.
Really though.
Yeah, don't actually knock yourself out. Not like last time. All right. So, let me brief you on what we're doing here. We're going to add some kind of reloading mechanism where you're going to run out of ammunition if you don't land on the ground. Okay, you got it? So what we got to do is we're going to increment this shots since last landing. Great variable name, I know. We're going to increment that every time you actually fire the weapon. And we're going to have some way of saying... Let's see here. If your shots since last landing is greater than or equal to the maximum shots, then sorry, we're just gonna early exit. Nothing happens. But now we need... Yeah, you like that mute button. Baby coding books. Yeah, we got a book called Baby Loves Coding. I don't remember who got us that, but teaches all about algorithms, right? You know algorithms now. Oh yeah. What you see? Mm-hmm. You gonna make some? You wanna make some animal sounds? No. Okay. That was worth a shot. All right. So we need to find some way to reset the landing timer. JavaScript for babies. See, I did. Sorry. I did see those. I don't remember who got us the coding for babies or Baby Loves Coding. It was part of some series because we've also got Baby Loves Gravity. Oh, now oh, there goes the cursor. Yeah, I know how much you like your keyboard. Do we need to get your laptop out so you can do some typing and play some music? Oh, you just want to play with that mute button, don't you? Yeah, you do. She's a big fan of wire. Well, what I'm trying to say is she really likes and keyboard. Mostly of the wire. So she's managed to completely get through one of the scroll wheels on a wireless mouse of mine, which is unfortunate. Thank you for making sure that I'm... Do you not want anybody to hear what I have to say? It's a nice, satisfying click, and it's got a nice big red glow to it, so I can't blame her, really. Uh-oh, she's learned how to rotate the microphone. Well, that's probably fine. I don't see any problem there. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to find somewhere to handle the reload. Probably right, this would work right here, because this is getting updated when? When is our, whoa, when is our weapon update logic happening? Oh, cords everywhere now. Let's see here. Our main loop, weapon handler.update, that's the one. Is this weapon handler? No, this is class weapon. Where's our weapon handler? Did you just smack me in the face? Oh no. What happened? What happened? I don't know. 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 I don't know what happened. Ah, yeah. Oh. So here's something. Then we can only read. Ah, the mic was muted. Wonder who did that. So what we could do is put the logic for reloading the weapon in the weapon handler update. The benefit there is we can use it to only update the currently in use weapon. Which would be really nice because then, yeah. Oh, you got your fishy. Because then the player has to make some decisions. Could have been anybody. Make some decisions. Oh yeah, you want to push the button. They can switch between their weapons while they're in the air. You know, go on the offensive, use some maneuvering weapons that are like the jetpack, stuff that it's basically just for getting yourself in a more favorable position. But then when they land, they have to decide, do I want to just... Or do I want to take some time to switch out all my weapons and make sure they're all fully reloaded? I may change my mind on that because that seems a little tedious. Oh, you hugging your fish? Giving a big hug? Oh, big hug for the fish. Yeah. Whoa. Whoa! Yeah! Yeah. So let's do let is player on ground. Let's just quick check for that. How do we check for that? How do we check for that? What do you think? What do you think? Oh. I feel like we could get that for free. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, you want to play with the chair overturned? All right, here you go. I'll overturn the office chair. Oh. So let's see. We react to borders. So we could grab it right here and just have it be part of the player's properties. So let's see. Is on ground. So what we'll say, if touched borders dot sum, which is the JavaScript equivalent to .any, x instance of floor or x instance of platform. If there are any instances of that, then is on ground equals true. Oh, actually, even quicker, just is on ground equals to. Whoa! Alright, and that way every frame it will be updated to be like, hey, did any of those borders that we just reacted to, were any of those ground borders? If so, let's just keep track of that for later. And in weapon handler, we can just say player.isOnGround. Let's do a null check. Careful! Oh, do you hear a dog? Do you hear a dog? Woof woof. We need to let dog upstairs. Is there a dog over here? No, no dog. She's somewhere down there. She's somewhere. I know. I know. Yeah. And let's see here. Let's move that into the current. Well, we'll put it here. Why not? If current weapon, then and if is player on ground, then current weapon dot shots fire. What did I call it? What did I call it? Oh, it's in the main weapon class. We called that shots since last landing equals 0. Boom. Simple as that. And so now we should kind of run out of ammo. 1, 2, 3. Yep, no more shots. Jetpack. Brrr. Okay, jetpack still gets a lot of. You still get a lot of mileage off of our dummy jetpack class. Is something over there? What do you see? You see something on the stairs? Oh, I think there's a dog. It's a doggy! It's a dog! Woo! So right now, the jetpack... the jetpack is kind of a bit goofy. Like, it's not super useful. But it gets a few too many shots before landing. Because I don't... The main goal I'm trying to solve here is I don't want people to just fly over the entire level. But I want to at least be able to test the whole, like, variety of stuff. So the jetpack is kind of your backup. Like, oops, oh, bad momentum. Better correct by switching to the jetpack real quick. So right now... Yeah, okay, only one shot there because I didn't change over. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay, this is good. This is good. We have only 3 shots before landing, which means you have to plan out a little bit more. Oh, you bouncing? You have to plan where you're going to land. You can take some pot shots here, grab some treasure. See, the trick is if you land in a pit, you got to really fight gravity. Because I think we decided the ground is somehow going to be dangerous. It is going to deal some damage. See, right here, I got a big gap. I could go up there and face the enemies, or I can just gamble and just hope. Oh, nope. There we go. So you got options. That's the important thing. You got options. You got to kind of play your cards right. Make choices. Do you want to go fast? Do you want to go safe? Do you want to grind loot? And you can fire infinitely if you are just sitting on the ground, so that's something. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm gonna think about it. You could probably actually see the arc of some... Well, you guys probably can't. You're probably seeing like a quarter of a pixel here. But gravity does affect the weapon particles. At the same rate as everything else. Like everything right now uses the same gravity variable, which is very convenient for me. Oof. Oh no, did you fall down? Oh, now you're on the ground. Oh, hi. What are you so excited? Do you think you're getting free pets here? Need a hand?
I did it. I got it.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
Honestly. Thank you so much. Oh, fruit. For health and wellness.
Good for you.
Health and wellness. Thank you. Are you ready for dinner?
You wanna go have some dinner? Some chicken for you.
Oh.
Can you dip that with us?
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to eat with that in your mouth, but...
Hi, Gracie.
Did you grab my shoe? She did grab my shoe.
Oh, good pets for Gracie.
Yeah.
Gracie, wanna come with us?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, dinner time.
Have a good dinner.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Dropped your yarn. It happens. All right. Okay, this is improved. This is better. Limitations create interest. Actually, here's something. Surfing. Or, shark.
Look at you.
I don't know, there's a Smash Brothers term for it, I think. With these platforms being one way, I'm really incentivized to stay below enemies, right? I mean, unless there's some enemies that don't care about platforms. Hey, you ready for dinner? Go get some chicken?
She's stalling.
I think she is stalling. This hasn't been much of a thing, but it is certainly becoming one. Alright, there we go. Alright. Alright, how do we make it less viable to just sit below platforms and just shoot enemies? Do we need to make that less viable? Should the player feel clever for doing that? Aye. You can't say anything without a toddler just repeating it. Crazy that. Oh my gosh. She's so cute. She's so cute. Alright, we got What do we got? We got 2 hours until Germdove's match starts tonight. Trying to figure out what all I'm going to get done up until that point. Let's see here. I could work on a vertical room generator as well. Because the logic is going to be the logic will be the same. Actually, you know what? Vertical rooms are going to be a lot better, I think, gameplay-wise, because you have to go into the gaps, and enemies you're going to have to deal with them because every safe platform is actually going to have a chance of having an enemy on it. And you don't have to deal with this surfing business of I'm going to stay on the lowest level possible because then the enemies above me aren't an issue. So I feel like vertical rooms are going to be a lot better gameplay-wise. This function won't be as useful, so we probably won't be able to reuse that. Still need to figure out what the exit door looks like. That's going to be for transitioning between different corridors and into new rooms and safe rooms. But we do want to do a vertical corridor. So with this one, you start at the top, work your way down. This is going to be the same. This is going to be very different. This is the logic that's going to change right here. So let's look back at our test, our little scrap paint here. So horizontal was pretty easy to visualize what that needed to look like. Vertical should be similar, but definitely different. So we're gonna have wall on the left, wall on the right. So this I want to be not necessarily alternating, but kind of random between like a central platform with gaps in the sides and walls on the sides. Maybe also with platforms interspersed. But similar to the horizontal corridor, there's basically going to be lines of platforms. Yeah, maybe we could have something like that occasionally. And maybe there will be some missing platforms. You know, we'll do a similar sort of thing where we'll roll randomly for each platform on whether or not to actually include it after we generate the layout, so that you get these occasional gaps. But something like this, where Ooh, okay, this is gonna be a little bit trickier now that I think about it. I guess what we want is like an offset, a random offset. I don't want, again, same as before, I don't want to wind up with a case where we get these like weird, super tiny platforms jutting out of a wall. That's weird. The game physics probably won't like it very much. It's just kind of goofy. Similarly, I don't want like a tiny gap on the edge, because then there's confusion on like, well, does that count? Does that not count? Am I allowed to get through that? Can I shoot through that? So we want to avoid those cases. So those are bad. Don't want that. So how do we manage that? I think basically it comes down to we have to decide whether we're going to have a platform on the edge or a gap on the edge. Like, we can decide that up front. If it's a platform, then we roll a random width with a set minimum to taste and a set possible maximum. If it's a gap, similarly, there's a minimum and a maximum possible width. But how do we conjoin that from the sides? If we roll, maybe we would roll randomly for both sides, but then how do we fill it in while still constraining to this setup? How do we decide how to make that work? Maybe the size of both platforms and gaps have the same minimum. No, I don't really like that as much. Okay. Possibility. I still want to have the ability to have randomly sized platforms. So... Alright, hang on. I gotta think about this. This is a bit of a puzzle. We want to have some number of randomly sized platforms spaced apart by random gaps that is constrained by certain rules of no gap can be larger than this, no platform can be larger than that. I guess the easy thing is it's going to be easy to say, like, okay, this platform is going to go this far out from the wall, this platform is going to go this far out the wall, here's the room you have left. What can we do with that? Okay, here's a quick and dirty rule we could do. Similarly to what we did on the horizontal corridor, we basically have a cursor, a variable that is our drawing utensil of sorts. And what that's going to do, let's just use that there. So what that's going to do is that's going to say, hey, I'm starting right here. Begin drawing platforms. And what it will do is it will randomly roll a width of a gap, followed by rolling a platform. Just random numbers generated from a certain range. And then repeat that process until I get to some threshold. Let's see here. It'll be something like if the platform is if the platform extends past a certain point, then just don't even put it in the game. And if it... when am I going to roll? When am I going to determine whether or not to stop? I guess at the gap point, maybe. I don't know, but I think that's the idea, is that we start with our random generation and just kind of cursor across, printing our line as a series of dashes and gaps. And then once we get to a certain point, we say, oh, that's too close to the edge, scrap that last one, next line, go. Gap, dash, dash. You know, we randomly decide whether to start with a line or a gap. And then just to tone down the patterns that will probably generate from that, even with random numbers, I think you'd see a lot of patterns like, oh, the second platform's always right around here. To tone that down just a bit, we can randomly flip whether we're starting from the left or the right, just to give it that little bit of added noise to shake things up a bit. And so with all of these different random changes of, okay, the gap, whether we start with a gap or a platform is random, whether we're starting on the left or the right is random, whether the platform even prints or not is random, like high probability, but just a little chance of just occasionally just dropping a platform entirely from the room. All of that added together, I think, will give us a good random setup. and then also randomly just like the horizontal corridor, some platforms will have enemies randomly and some will not, with some probability that we should be able to tweak. And then eventually we tie this into different sets of enemies that have different types of synergies. Hello?
Hi.
Oh, forget something?
Starving baby.
Oh,
Need some bonus crackers.
oh my goodness, she's hungry. Yeah, idea being that eventually we'll have different sets of enemies that will pair nicely together in some way. Like some enemies maybe just are difficult to get past until you've done enough damage to them. Like, you know, they're stationary, like turret style enemies that maybe they're not even, maybe they're just like a wall enemy. Like they're not really hurting you, but you can't go past them until you've killed them, and they got a lot of health. But at the same time, you're having to dodge some enemy that, you know, can't chase you very far, but is peppering you with damage. So you've got to juggle these two things at once. These two enemies that, on their own, would be easy to deal with, but together they have this weird pairing that makes them very challenging. I think that would be a really fun element. And then we can build these set lists of enemies, wherein, you know, when we're generating a room, we're saying, hey, this room is going to have this set of enemies, and then every platform we randomly decide which of those enemy types to add on. Would create platform lines still work for this? That would be so good if it did. This one always starts with a gap. That is something. That this one always starts with a gap. So what if I add gap start as a Boolean? How do I make that work? I don't. Okay, let's just not bother with that yet, but let's reuse this function, and let's eventually make this function usable for both the horizontal and vertical corridors. Oh, you know what? Honestly, this entire logic will still work. I think this entire logic will still work. That's crazy. Is that real? Actually, do I even need to create horizontal? Do I even need a separate function? What would happen if I just said, make it 2,000 and by 10,000? Like, what does that do? Do I immediately just get a working vertical corridor that... I think I do. I think I actually just get a working... No, oh, yep, that keeps going. All right, let's reduce that to 1,000. Does this just work? Oh, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. I think this does just work, with the exception of needing to start with gaps a little bit more. But yeah, this is good. Yeah, we don't need separate logic for horizontal versus vertical. The logic works for both. That's really nice. It basically just comes down to, I need a different... I guess one big difference is where the exit door goes. Because on horizontal corridors, I want to put it against the right wall, but on vertical corridors, I want it to be on the... Well, I guess I still want it to be on the right wall, but just really close to the bottom. Yeah, this is great. I love that just that works for both. So let's change this gap. Let's put the gap at the bottom. Let's see what that does. Yeah, so now we always start with a wall, but the effect is because the wall length is so close to the full stage length that we pretty much never get a second. So that would be a case where we want to have the ability to have like different max and min values for our width. Let's see if we can just like get just enough. No, not quite. What? So yeah, well, no, we're getting a few second ones, but not many. Yeah, going vertically would not be interesting at all because enemies would pose no threat and you could just shoot them from below. So, I think what we want to do... Ah! Here we go, here we go. Our initial X value, with a 50-50 chance, we will start with a gap. I think that might be a great start. And then also, I want to somehow have a 50-50 chance of mirroring our platform X's, our X values on our platforms. So all the calculations work the same way, except when we're actually adding our sprites or adding our platforms. Let's see here. Yeah, that should probably still work. We'll use a nice little pretty ternary here for no good reason. Width minus value. I think this will work. It's either gonna start at X or width minus X. Is that enough right there? Does that do it? Let's find out. Is that a left angled? No, that's just starting with a gap. Do we get any left angled platforms or right side aligned platforms? No, we do not. So the mirroring did not work. Oh wait, maybe? I can't really tell because we've got this. All right, let's remove this so that all platforms will be aligned to a wall. See, there's a left aligned wall. Left align, left align. Yeah, we're not seeing any mirrored. So we need to figure out. Weird. I wonder if it's because of the platform hits wall logic. I bet it is. Maybe? Yes, okay. So now we get a left-aligned platform and a right-aligned platform occasionally. Okay, this is good. Yeah, so now we add in the gap logic. And so now, well, we're still getting a lot of missing stuff, but probably because it's like the size of these platforms is just right where we're very unlikely to get two platforms. That's the tricky thing with procedural content. It's like, is it working or is this just really weird RNG? Also, this, don't like that. Okay, but the point is that now this logic is the same for horizontal corridors and vertical corridors. So whichever one we want to generate, we just pass it a height and a width, and it will just generate our map regardless. We don't have to give it any special instructions on, oh, well, this one is actually special because reasons. And these guys are actually more of a threat for these vertical platforms. Also very tricky to get down since you cannot see more than one platform down. Not yet, but they need to be for more than one reason. One, because they're just cool. Two, on horizontal corridors, to disincentivize the player just hanging out below everything and just surfing under everybody, we want to make it so that the bottom platform actually damages the player somewhat. Maybe with like a little bit of a forgiveness timer, but probably just straight up like, yeah, that counts as touching an enemy. And that will not be difficult to create. But I really like that idea, because that does add a little bit more spice to it as well. Yeah, tricky thing on the camera. I would really like to have the camera pan down for these vertical sections. No platforms in sight. I don't like that. Maybe that's too much. Maybe I need to turn down our logic for dropping platforms. Let's say that platforms only get trimmed out 10% of the time instead. What was I about to say? Oh yeah, camera. I would love to have the camera kind of focused a bit more downward for these areas so you could see more of what's coming up. But we're going with a fixed camera because all combat and motion, all maneuverability is based on clicking somewhere on the screen relative to the player. Since you fire towards your mouse, you want to know for sure, like, hey, if I ever click on the lower half of the screen, I'm going to be moving vertically. And if I ever pan away from the player, even slightly, that breaks that positioning. And so suddenly there's like this disconnect between what the player expects and what actually could happen. Can I get through this? I think I can. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's why we went with fixed camera on this, as much as it kind of makes it difficult to see what's going on in this. I may change the canvas size a bit going forward, just to give the ability to see a little bit more of what's happening. Actually, you know what? Let's increase. Let's change this. Min space per platform. Let's see if we can squeeze these down a little bit more. Yeah, that's a little bit better. You can actually see the next enemy when you're on one platform. You can see 2 layers down, but you can't quite see the floor. So let's tweak it until you can just barely see 2 floors down. There we go. That makes it much easier to plan things out. And nicely enough, you can much more easily make that jump with 2 shots instead of 3. You could already do it with 2 if you timed them well, but this just makes it a little bit more easy to pull off. Keeping an eye out for when Germdov's going live. He's got the tournament race tonight for the Speed Gaming Mario Maker tournament. We're gonna make sure to go over and show support, show some love for the Dove, as they say. All right, this is working out all right. I mean, there's a few oddities with our trimming, but I'm not as worried about that because it's not really going to affect gameplay yet. And this is still very prototype. Don't like that. Yeah. The point is we have a level generator. Even if it is not balanced yet, it is workable. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, so you'll work your way down a corridor. Let's see. So if anybody's missed it, here's our Grandmaster plan is the idea. And I'm not sure if we're going to keep horizontal corridors at all. But there will be you'll alternate between a corridor room and like a smaller, sort of more contained fight room with a scripted set of enemies that you will be required to defeat before moving on. Possibly we'll have a shop mid-level or maybe between levels. That I'm not 100% sure on. And then end each stage with a boss fight, which will be a randomly generated boss. I'm really looking forward to the idea of doing randomly generated bosses because I've got some cool ideas for like basically do it like Lego style of have a boss be made of multiple pieces that we can just grab a random handful of boss parts and connect them together in some kind of randomly configured way. Like, oh, this boss has flamethrowers on the front and his shield weak point is right here, but it's guarded by this damage-soaking node of some kind here. And basically just have them like connected together, Lego style. So that's the plan for boss generation. All right, I think we reached our progress goal for the night, which was basically just have a basic level generation system in place. And we, as a bonus, we got a new enemy type. Look at that beautiful red circle. I am not looking forward to having to actually like generate like textures for all of these. Maybe the textures could be randomized as well. You know, Gravatar style, where it's basically just like a random geometric shape and color scheme. Oh, that would be interesting. Every playthrough, you don't even know what the enemies are. You're like, oh, it's one of those orange guys. I don't even know what their movement pattern is yet. I mean, eventually you would learn all the movement patterns, but just making that like part of the process. Maybe that's not a great idea. Maybe you want to be able to improve and visually tell what an enemy is going to do based on looking at it without studying its pattern every time. But still. I don't want to go too crazy on the random content. Let's see here. I'm trying to decide if I want to continue tonight. I can't really do long streams. I'm still kind of in recovery mode post-surgery, so I get a little bit more worn out than usual. Germdove has not started his warm-up yet. He's still got like an hour and a half until his race. But Curb is finishing Link's Awakening. So, maybe we will go ahead and just kind of hang out with him for a bit, because I'm a little bit worn out. Yeah, I think we're gonna do that. I just need to rest some more. So good progress tonight. I will post the well, let's do our poor man's cache breaker. Make sure that none of this stuff gets cached if anybody reloads it. I'll check that in and post that on the usual place, which is right here. And we're gonna go hang out with Curbska until Germdove's race, which again, that's in an hour and a half, as part of Speed Gaming Live. So, looking forward to that. I'm gonna face the winner of tonight's match. So, hey, Whiskey, how you doing, man? Hey, big congrats on turning that run around, that Stealth B run. That run had no right to it had no right to come into a success at the end. All right, let's watch. Curbska's gonna finish off Link's Awakening tonight, it looks like, and then after that, maybe it'll be time to go watch Germ Dove. So, thanks, McFixit. Everybody, have a good night. Have a good rest of the week. All right, take care.